What is up, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Comfort and Chaos with me and, of course, my co-host, the White Buffalo, in an undisclosed bunker in the mountaintops of Colorado somewhere. Still waiting for that grid, but hey, one of these days we'll get it.
You haven't
Either
gotten
way,
that yet?
guys. Nope, we haven't gotten it yet, man. Haven't gotten it.
Yeah, I'll send it someday.
Either way, guys, hey, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you guys clicking on this and appreciate you guys being present. All right. And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please hit the subscribe button if you'd like to be part of the Comfort and Chaos team and you really appreciate the content that we provide and kind of give us that encouragement going forward, because that kind of support is always appreciated on our end. So thank you guys. Now, without further ado, we're not going to waste your guys' time. All right. You got two military, a current and a former military professional. And one thing about us is we respect our time. All right. We value it. So we're not going to waste too much of your guys' time. We're just going to get right into it. All right. As you can see below, the hot topic right now, at least to Will and I, is censorship. All right. And I wanted to hit my co-host here because you guys already know from all the previous episodes, he adds a different flavor to the pizza here. Okay.
That's like right. Pineapple?
Yeah, exactly. He's the one who will throw the pineapple and anchovies and who knows what else on that pizza.
Nothing but sausage.
Either way, a lot of stuff has gone down, Will, in the realm of censorship. I'm pretty sure you've been monitoring a lot of the news, man, and some of the headlines coming out, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty crazy, And I remember, what is it, like just a couple of years ago, it was actually like brought up to the Supreme Court, in fact, when it came to the COVID-19 stuff, and there was a lot of regulation that was being forced onto these social media outlets for, of course, the word misinformation, and that whole separation between freedom of speech and misinformation, and now the hot topic is hate speech and misinformation. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know, Will, if you want, we can hit your talking points at the end, or do you have something you want to share about this now?
Yeah, man. I mean, so I just spent 4 glorious days, no cell phone, no connection, up in the mountains of Colorado, completely off the grid, only to come back and hear this bullshit.
You remember there's chaos in the world going on.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that too. I was like, man, I wonder what like crazy shit I'm missing. And then I look up at the mountain, I'm like, fuck it. And it's just wild to come back to this and see the continued insanity of the world on fire right now, and
man,
and all the potential implications of it coming here. So it's been an interesting day and a half back to civilization. I'm about to go back off grid.
Man, hey, take us with you. Take us with you. You got room in that RV? You got room?
Only if you bring some of this.
Oh, that's too easy. And I'll bring from our future sponsor, soon to be sponsor.
Yeah.
Buffalo Trace.
That's again, it's evening time, so we drink our Buffalo out of our Black Rifle cup.
Hell yeah. Well, man, I won't waste too much time on this. So obviously the hot topic, dude, is obviously what really sparked this is Brazil. Yeah. Man. So Brazil straight up gave Elon Musk the middle finger and just said, good luck. You're not allowed at this platform is not, basically, like, they banned the platform in the country. They even banned, like, they're going to be fined. They'll find there's anybody who even uses a VPN to access that.
Yeah, up to $8,600. It roughly comes out a little over $8,000 a day if they catch you using X. And I think it's a double middle finger, right? Like, the Brazilian government wanted Elon and X the artist formerly known as Twitter, to censor certain types of speech, and
Yep.
outright ban right-wing politicians, equivalents of senators, off the platform. So that was
Jeez.
decreed by basically an equivalent of a Supreme Court judge. We got to remember this is not the U.S. There is
Yeah,
no
it's not.
First Amendment there, but according to the Brazilian Constitution, they are not allowed to censor any type of political speech. So that was what Elon was leaning towards. He said, like, hey, like,
Yeah.
even your own fucking constitution says I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. And they called his fucking bluff.
Man, I didn't even think that was like going to be a thing, you know. I always knew it was a hot topic, but because it's so big, like, I mean, we're talking massive. We're talking like, and I'm just only referring to like Brazil because, you know, I've been there. Like, there's
Yeah.
literally like
Yeah, I have too.
villages. There's like small villages and like small towns, and everybody has a cell phone, like
Oh,
everybody,
for
and
sure.
they use social media like everybody does. Some people use it for work, some people use it for news, some people use it for just to find out what's going on in the world. And then now all of a sudden, a country, what, at like a flip of like, what do? They just flip a switch? Like, how do they? I'm just curious how that works. You
Yeah,
know?
so what they have done ostensibly is they've told their internet service providers you'll shut it off. You'll shut off the feed, right? Like you'll ban that IP address. That's where people were going to use a VPN to get around. But again, they're threatening, you know, an $8,000 fine a day if they get on a VPN and they get caught on X. So they've also gone to Apple and Google and said, you will take this off of your Play Store or your Apple Store, and you will shut down anybody who is using a phone, a cell phone, right? The two major producers, Apple and Google, you
Yep.
will take it off. Otherwise, we'll ban you from doing business in the country. And so it sounds like everybody's going to comply, except for, wait for it. Oh, wait. Hold on. We got the little fucking drum roll. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's the wrong drum roll. Anyway, fucking SpaceX SpaceX, right? Elon's internet service provider.
Oh, Starlink.
Starlink. So Starlink was obviously like, nah, we won't. So they it hasn't even gone into effect yet, but they've already frozen all of Starlink's assets in that country.
Wow.
Yeah, and so here's the other kind of crazy part to it. So their head legal person and who was running X down in Brazil, when all this kind of started happening, Elon pulled them out, like, and was like, "Hey, you still work for us, but like you need to get the fuck out of Dodge." And
Damn, dude.
court judge was like, "Hey, like, they froze all that person's assets and wanted to arrest them." And they basically said, "Hey, you have like 48 hours to appoint somebody else to handle your legal business down here, or we're gonna." This is where the ban came in. You have 48 hours, or we're gonna to appoint a legal rep. And he told them to go fuck themselves because he knew what was going to happen. They were just going to arrest them.
Gosh, dude.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
So, what do you think are going to be like the second, third, tertiary effects to this? Like, is this eventually someone's got to call someone's bluff, right? I mean, I don't foresee them. Like, I feel like the citizens, and there's a lot of people that rely on these networks and technologies. And it's like, what are you trying to do? Take us back because somebody who's only going to be here for a certain amount of time says they don't want it? Like,
yeah, so it's interesting. I think internal to the country of Brazil, right? A lot of the more right-wing, right-leaning political parties are utilizing this as hey, like look at what that side's doing, right? The left
Exactly.
equivalent, the progressive equivalent. Hey, look at what they're doing, and they're trampling your free speech. So they're using it as a rallying cry. You're probably going to see some civil unrest, all the fun stuff, right?
I mean,
That's
it's gonna come, man.
And then external, right? And this is some of the stuff that Brazil is kind of pointing out. Hey, Elon, like you keep talking a big fucking game, but when Turkey and India told you to do some of the same stuff, you did it. You did ban some accounts and you did shut some stuff down. Now, and specifically, like Elon's quote was not specific. Generally, he was like, "Hey, like I'm not going to shut down an entire fucking country of service for a couple of accounts." Now, I don't have the specifics on what they told him to ban or why. You know, there's obviously a line there when you start talking about violent content and stuff like that. Which, you know, I got to kind of set a little bit of a record straight because we did an episode on this from the UK perspective.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the folks that they arrested, we had talked about it because they really didn't put out what some of these, you know, Facebook messages or tweets or whatever the fuck it was that were getting cats arrested. So they put some of it out today, and it was the cat that was like threatening the immigrant hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something, you know, they said that he had threatened to like burn it down. What he actually said was, I could give two shits if somebody went and burnt that fucker down. Like ostensibly that's what he said. And like, that's what got him arrested.
Oh, bro.
So like, you're right. Like there's the borderline of like, hey, that's offensive and kind of a dickhead thing to say. And hey, like, but it's your shitty opinion. We're arresting people for shitty opinions now. Like, okay. Oh, okay. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. I'm just worried that when you open that door, there's no really, it's going to be a battle to close it.
Yeah.
You know,
and you look at the outright, where's the number one country for free speech rights in the fucking world? Oh, that's right. We're in it. And what's the current administration's outtake on it, hot take on it? What are they saying about it? What are they doing about it? Oh, that's right. Fucking nothing. The word, because when you look at the Twitter files that were cut loose, the current administration was basically teaching the Brazilians how to fucking do this, how to censor. Like, go look at the Twitter files. They were already supporting this.
Damn.
Yep.
Damn. Gosh. Hey, I already said it, team. 2024 is going to be a rough year. Here it comes. Here it comes. Well, I think we got a video. In case you guys don't know what we're talking about, we got a news article, news headline video here we can play for you guys and kind of get you caught up. And we'll go ahead and run this for y'all.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. And we do have some breaking news that we want to let you to know about out of Brazil. This, as a Brazilian Supreme Court panel has upheld the decision of one of its justices to block Elon Musk's social media platform X nationwide. That's according to the court's website. The broader support among justices deals a blow to Musk and his supporters who have sought to characterize Justice de Moraes as a renegade and authoritarian censor of political speech. The panel is comprised of 5 of the full bench's 11 justices, including de Moraes, who last Friday ordered the platform blocked for having failed to name a local legal representative representative as required by law. X will remain blocked until it complies with his orders and pays outstanding fines that, as of last week, exceeded $3 million, according to the justice's decision. DeMarias also set a daily fine of $8,900 for people or companies using virtual private networks, or VPNs, to access X. Some legal experts question the grounds for that decision and how it would be enforced, including Brazil's Bar Association, which said it would request the Supreme Court review that provision. However, the majority of the panel earlier today upheld both the block and VPN fine, with one justice opposing the latter unless users are shown to be using X to commit crimes. Now, Brazil is one of the biggest markets for X, with tens of millions of users, and its block marked a dramatic escalation in a feud between Musk and DeMarias over free speech, far-right accounts, and misinformation. So we did want to share that breaking news with you out of Brazil. As
Jeez, man. See, even they're kind of wondering, okay, how are you going to monitor that, for one? And then two, we're talking tens and millions of individuals who rely on that platform.
Yeah.
That's just, it's a sad situation. Will, I'll tell you that, to me, I mean, I just think that's a sad situation. And my heart definitely goes out to the citizens of Brazil, because the way I see it, it's like, the way it sounds is literally a small group of individuals up on this area over here, because they're not happy. All of a sudden, the whole nation has to suffer, and they're only there temporarily. Like, that's what I don't know. I think too much from a common sense perspective, where I'm like, dude, this is bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, right? Like Twitter, any of these social media, it's become the new town square.
Yeah.
That's how you communicate, for everybody. Right? And it's just expanded the ability of people to communicate, which is a great thing. But when you see all that crackhead standing on the corner, back in the day before all this social media thing, right? It was like, oh, the fucking earth is flat. And you're like, that's just fucking batshit. Okay. Like, right. It gave that guy a fucking platform. Right.
Yeah.
But the way to stop that, or to counter that, right? You shouldn't stop that. Like, let that asshole talk. Like, is the good speech, right? Like, yeah, you just got right. It's allowed that dude to have 50 crackheads on the corner, talking about how the earth's fucking flat, like a bunch of psychopaths.
Yeah.
But the way to counter that is not to restrict speech that you don't like. It's more speech. It's better speech.
Yeah.
More articulate speech.
I agree. Just get louder, It's kind of like, I think of two things. I think of the sense of like, hey, as a child, as kids, it's like the more our parents told us, hey, don't go upstairs in my office or something. The more they told me that as a kid, I'm like, man, I'm
going to get in that fucking office.
I need to get in that office. I need to open that door, see what's in there. And it was one of those things where, okay, you're it's like you're telling the child, hey, don't do this. Don't turn on your cell phone and go here. And everyone's just going to be like, oh, I'm going to check out this cell phone. And then the other thing I like to think about is, okay, look at how far we've come as our own country historically because of free speech.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think back, go back in time, like all the major events and major decisions, that have been made by our Supreme Court because initially started from free speech, from somebody having a platform, getting out there and saying what they got to say. And then next thing you know, it turns into this big following and their platform grows and it grows. And, I mean, I think of the influences because of that. And I'm not saying all of it's right. I'm just saying, you got to also factor in the good that has come from it instead of just focusing on like, oh, wow, Brazil's pissed off because of this and they're deeming it hate speech, or UK is pissed off because of this one little issue, a situation they're going through. And now all of a sudden they're going to restrict it all from this point going forward.
Yeah. For me, the terrifying part is who is trying to restrict the speech.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the other thing.
It's not citizens banding together and going, I'm just not going to fucking listen to you because you're the crackhead on the corner. Right. Like, no, it's the government deciding what should and shouldn't be spoken.
And that should be concerning.
And it's, ever since COVID, it's just grown the amount of governmental control and their attempts to wrangle these social media companies and wrangle what should and shouldn't be said is insane. And the wake up call should have been after COVID when we all went, hold on a fucking second, like you shut down doctors, like you shut down fucking medical professionals that even dared question your fucking orthodoxy, and you were fucking wrong. Like you were screaming misinformation and how it was so fucking dangerous.
They were literally
it was
kicking
you
people out. They were
it was
all
you were they were I mean just wrecking people's careers, their lives, over at the end of the day. Like what came out later was like, oh shit, like that was a valid fucking point.
Yeah.
We just didn't want to hear it at the time.
We just didn't want to hear it.
How dare you? Like,
yeah, man.
It's wild, man. And that was in this country. That was in this fucking country. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. I mean, the saying, what's the saying go? You give the government an inch, they're going to take a mile.
Yeah.
And then good luck trying to get that mile back.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty insane, but that's a good segue as we go into this next topic that kind of ties in with this, So also during your little trip, your little hiatus away from the chaos of the world, another social media CEO was arrested, while arriving, I believe, at a French airport.
Yeah.
He is I believe, the Telegram CEO, and basically it's a Russian social media from what I'm tracking. Isn't he Russian?
So he Durov, what's his first name? Peter? Is it Peter Durov?
I think I know it starts with P. You're right. Yeah.
So he's the CEO of Telegram. Think of that as it was originally started kind of as Russian WhatsApp would be the best way to describe it. It's a WhatsApp Signal messaging application to message between people across the world. Originally founded in Russia. Russia tried to crack down on him and he went, fuck this, and left and became a French and I believe UAE citizen. So got dual citizenship in a couple different countries, one of them being France, to get away from government censorship.
Yeah, it's his business. He started it.
Yep.
His own privately owned business.
Now, some of the difference is between some of those other companies and your WhatsApp, your Signal, and Telegram is the amount of people that can kind of join a chat. Essentially, is one of the big ones. Like you can bring in an epic butt ton of people into a single chat group, right? So one of the things that it has allowed, right, is it's become kind of a safe haven for shitheads. Right, but you could probably find that on any one of those messaging apps.
Exactly.
Secure end-to-end encrypted messages. So it allowed anonymity. And when you have some of that, people are shitheads. So you're talking drug traffickers, sex traffickers, child pornography, all of the not fun things of the internet. And Telegram became one of those kind of hubs for it because they didn't track, the way I understand it, they do not track its user base the same way. They don't back up the messages. They don't, right? It's sent point to point, end to end, unless you specifically go in and select, hey, I want a backup of all my stuff. Telegram doesn't store that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right. So again, right, potentially more secure from Big Brother looking in on you again.
Yep.
What does that attract? Potential shitheads.
Yeah.
So, you've got all these multiple
bad guys would always find a way to exploit and use their resources.
Sure. And so, right, when governments have come in and said, hey, like, there's, you've got a fucking child porn chat room, like, and we've infiltrated it. And look at all these, terrible things. Like, Telegram was like, whatever, man. Like, that's not an us problem. That's a you problem. Go find the dudes that are sending fucking child porn. Like, that's not a me problem. And really wasn't willing to crack down on anything. And so, with the new EU laws, the internet censorship law equivalent, essentially, that has created obviously some issues.
Oh, I can imagine.
And so when old boy flew into Charles de Gaulle there in Paris, they rolled his ass.
On a private jet too. He flew a private jet.
Gangster.
And
did you see that dude? That dude allegedly has like 100 children.
What?
Yeah, like he's got like 100 different baby mamas.
I mean, I believe it. I believe I believe it, man. But that is it's pretty crazy to think that, okay, so like what stepping stones now are gonna come into play now because of this,
Yeah.
I would assume, if anybody else, obviously we have social media CEOs as well, I'm pretty sure they're already probably thinking about contingencies or something like, hey man, the wind is blowing this way, we got to come up with something here.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about, are you going to be willing as running a business, running a social media company, running anything that is allowing others to communicate right now, all of a sudden you are responsible for their communication. Like, you want to talk about chilling free speech and government censorship.
Gosh,
right?
Man.
Allowing Big Brother to look in on everything that you do. It's terrifying, man. It's absolutely terrifying. Like you talk about those second, third order effects, like, and you're seeing some of the winds shift, specifically take a look at what old Zuckerberg, just kind of did. Like he called out the left and the current administration over their attempts to get Meta to crack down on them. Elon tossed the EU under the bus and said, hey, like, all those other companies, Google, Meta, for your YouTubes, your run by Alphabet, your Google, all that stuff. Hey, they were offering us all deals to censor certain things and allow access to certain things. And Elon kind of was like, hey, I told them to go fuck themselves.
What did you guys say?
But nobody else did, is really what he was saying.
Oh boy. And what's crazy is, like, I wonder why Zuckerberg did that. Like what motivation? Because obviously you look at the timeline and you're like, hey, why now? I mean, you could have came out with this a long time ago.
What's going on right now? God, what's happening?
I wonder.
I'm not a fucking analyst, but
common sense, team. Apply your own common sense analytics to everything. Just do it. Just question it all.
Right. He's thrown his hat into the kind of the center, right? Just to see where the chips lay.
He is.
At the end of the day, right? But the terrifying part, on top of the COVID, right? Because that's really in part what he was talking about was like, hey, like the government told us to restrict certain things and to censor things. And
now he did testify though. He did testify in front of a committee a couple of years ago. I would say a year ago, 2 years ago, about the Hunter Biden stuff too.
That's the other part that he brought up, right?
Yeah.
And so, okay, I give a little bit of leeway during especially the initial parts of COVID, like when nobody knew what the fuck was going on, and it was like, okay, hold up, everybody stop. Okay. I can see the argument, at least whether or not I agree with it. I see the argument, right? When you start talking about like, oh, they told us, right? The FBI told us the Hunter Biden laptop story was misinformation, Russian misinformation.
Yeah,
complete bullshit,
and that they need to suppress it.
Yep. Hey, suppress this right
critical election time.
The election, suppress it.
Man,
like that's fucking terrifying.
It's pretty crazy, man.
It's wild.
It's crazy because I just foresee it not getting any easier.
Yeah.
I don't see it getting any easier.
Where the fuck is where is the media? Where are the journalists? Right? Like,
I don't think journalists exist anymore, man.
No, you know what they do?
They're all
go find them on Substack.
For.
Nope. Go find the independents on Substack, man. Like,
okay.
That are Matt Taibbi. God, I will get my list of like, hey, like these are the ones that are now fully independent. They're running on Substack and they're still putting out phenomenal stories.
Okay.
That are really well balanced and are really good. And I'll get something like that for a future episode.
Heck yeah, man. Well, in case you guys don't know what we're talking about, we got a quick little video clip we'll play for you here on and just a couple. We'll play a little bit of it. Won't play the whole thing, but just give you an idea of what we're talking about as far as
the Russian
Telegram
founder
CEO.
of the Telegram messaging app, Pavel Durov, has been arrested at a French airport. Reports say authorities have been investigating a lack of moderators on the app, which they say allows criminal activity to take place. Our correspondent Will Vernon explains what we know about the arrest.
Yeah, this is coming from a number of French media who quote sources in French law enforcement who say that Pavel Durov was arrested on Saturday evening last night at an airport near Paris. He'd apparently arrived on his private jet from Azerbaijan, and they're saying that he was arrested on the basis of an arrest warrant that was issued in connection with Telegram's failure to moderate illegal content and cooperate with law enforcement over drug trafficking, child sexual content and fraud. This is just coming from French media, we should stress. Of course, Telegram would almost certainly deny all of those allegations, but we'll have to see now whether he could appear in court today. French media are saying he could be indicted today, and of course what the reaction will be. You mentioned that the Russian Foreign Ministry, they've said that diplomats in Paris are urgently working in connection with his arrest.
Over the years, we haven't heard a lot about him in public.
We'll take care of it.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's wild, dude.
What's it coming to, man? What's it coming to? That's the real question, is what's it coming to? I mean, we'll play one more clip for you guys. I believe Will's got a clip here he wants to show us, but it is something to think about, team, as far as, like I was saying, what are going to be the after effects now? Be ready, because this is going to shift some things. It either gets shifted one way or it's going to get shifted another. And I just don't foresee it going in the way I think we all are hoping for, or at least a majority of us are hoping for. But I would love to hear your thoughts. So please comment down below based off all the topics that we discuss or the headlines that we showed. And just, I would like to hear your guys' point of view and perspective on this whole thing. So please comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I would love to engage them and learn from them too, as well, But let me see, Will, go ahead and fire up this next clip.
Yeah, really, like I'll lead in a little bit. Right. The question is right, should social media have government oversight? Right.
Mm-hmm.
Should those platforms be regulated by the
Mm-hmm.
government? I think there's an argument for, to some extent, right? When we look at the health risks and we're kind of figuring out now, man, the shit isn't really great for us, especially when folks can't moderate it and there's algorithms to just
Yeah.
suck you in, right? It's terrible for fucking kids.
Well, I mean, I agree.
So should there be some regulation? We could I think that discussion, but should the government moderate the speech on it? No fucking way. No fucking way. So this is your current Democratic presidential nominee a few years ago when she was running on what she thinks government's role in social media should be.
He has lost his privileges and it should be taken down. And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter. The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation. And that has to stop. He has
Huh.
That was her wanting to censor the actual the president at the time. She wanted to censor Donald Trump
because he just had such a big platform and a following.
And right, like she fundamentally disagrees with the message.
Yeah, but I bet you if he didn't have such a big platform, they wouldn't pay attention to him.
Well,
like it wouldn't be a big deal.
Sure. Sure.
Because I mean, I think of factoring everything on that one, Will.
Yeah.
So I think about like, okay, in comparison, you're looking at his platform and how many views he gets per post. Then they look at her posts at the time and how many views does she get of her posts, and comments or shares or anything. But because his is so big and so effective, that's probably why that was the main motivation behind that. I think of it that way because notice they're not afraid of anybody who's got a big platform. They're not really targeting anybody who doesn't have a big platform. You're not hearing them going after the Green Party's posts or the Green Party candidate's posts. I don't think they've ever have.
Not the posts. Right. They're happy to
social media since
they're happy to take down their candidacy though, because that just fucking happened. So yeah, I mean, it's just right. It's terrifying to think about, what these folks are calling disinformation, misinformation, and sure, somebody can say some dumb shit that's absolutely wrong. But there's example after fucking example after example after example after example of them targeting people that they don't like what they're saying.
Yeah.
And it's a viewpoint, and sometimes it's a very valid viewpoint, and sometimes it's just fucking science that they just didn't want it out there. Again, just take a look at all the shit that happened during COVID. And there you go. There it is.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. And it is a tough question though. It is a tough question. Should social media have oversight, and I think it is tough because it is, like you said before, it's gotten to the point where now even nefarious individuals are taking advantage of it for nefarious activities. And in that sense, it's like, dude, I mean,
sure. So you know what they were doing before that? Fucking calling each other and paging each other. Like,
Yeah,
hey
right.
man, hey, like fucking, right?
No,
Go
exactly.
back to
I mean,
some
that's
late
what I'm
'90s
saying.
movies. They're like beep beep beep. Oh, the drug
I
deal's gonna
know.
happen. Like,
No, I know
were
what
they
you're
taking
saying.
down the pager company? No, like no.
I know exactly what you're saying, and that's why it's like I'm definitely where it's like, dude, this is kind of tough because yeah, I get it when you're coming from the nefarious activity side. I get it. If somebody is blatantly putting something out there where you are concerned, for the individual, either their safety, their own personal safety, or someone else's safety, because too, like we've had active shooters, who what do they always do? They go to their social media. Anybody they investigate, they go to social media, and then they can see a trend based off what they were posting, stuff they were sharing, stuff they were typing on there. You can see, wow, we could have caught this, ahead of time, and then you also have the other side where I also see it where, dude, okay, you're gonna monitor. It's a free speech platform, but guess what? When you have free speech, you can't. You're somebody. You can have 1,000 people talking to them. More likely, you're gonna offend a person, but because you offend that one person, you have to change your whole speech. I mean, it's like, dude, you know what? You're gonna get offended. Like,
This is the idea of a thought crime, right? Like they made a movie about this. It's called Minority Report, right?
oh
Where
yeah,
they're
good
like,
movie,
right,
good
like
movie.
they're fucking arresting people because they like for the thing that they would do in the future. Right? Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, man. Like, and here's the reality, right? Like the shit that I'm saying at least, right? Like I'll take ownership of it. Like that it would absolutely get me thrown in the hucklebuck in the country. And I don't like to hold pockets. So God bless America. But
That's
the
right.
trending direction is if I don't like, right, if I, the government, don't like the thing that you're saying, I get to decide what that company will do to throttle you. Right now, if that
Yeah.
company wants to set policies and restrictions and like, right, YouTube does it. They took one of our fucking videos down the other day because the IOC did like the fact
Yeah.
that we're making fun of that fucking breakdancer.
Yeah.
Like
I
they took one of ours down, right?
Yeah, they did.
Cool. Like okay, like
And it's cool. I mean, were you offended by that, Will? Like, I mean, I wasn't offended. I was just like, "Oh, okay. Well,
I'm a
okay."
little poopy about it.
I mean, I get
They
it,
want
but
the IOC wants to scrub our eyes of that fucking breakdancer,
I
but
mean, did you
okay.
lose sleep over it though?
No,
I
no,
mean,
no,
exactly, and
no.
neither did I.
But if I found out that my government was doing it, I'm gonna lose some fucking sleep.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I definitely see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. And this is gonna be a question that is definitely gonna be a big hot topic for 2024. I can definitely see that, and I can see some future debates, which I think is what's needed. Honestly, like,
Oh yeah.
hey, get some two individuals, get them on a platform, get a politician, get Mark Zuckerberg, get Elon Musk, get I don't know, a judge or something, sit them in a forum and let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah, and I think right that's part of the problem too with this is who's going to make these decisions and what's the average age of the humans in Congress that can barely turn a fucking
Yes.
computer on, let alone make social media policy
Probably
on
have
AI
they have
and
some interns running their social media. Like, you know
for
what I'm saying?
1000%,
Like
1000%, like
I guarantee it.
1000%.
All these people make these
That's
choices.
the human that we're putting our trust in. Like fuck.
Yeah. It's gonna be a rough year, Will. It's gonna be a rough year.
I'm going back to the fucking mountains.
Go back. Hey, gotta make make the bunker a little bit deeper. We'll have to
Right.
make it a little deeper.
Right.
All right, team. Well, I think you had enough of us in the social media oversight and censorship. All those key buzzwords. I think you had enough of that for this evening. I know I did. I know Will probably did too. And I got some Buffalo Trace downstairs calling my name. But before we go out, Will, you got any messages for the team?
Yeah, man. Hopefully everybody learned something today. And keep digging into that information. Like you said, apply your own analytics. And hey, like whatever you're going through, right? Like it's gonna get better.
It will.
Or it won't. One of those two things.
You will adapt. Okay.
One of
You
those
adapt.
two things.
You will adapt.
Until next
All
time,
right.
friends.
Yes. Until next time, guys, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please hit the subscribe button. Join the Comfort and Chaos team. Support Will and I as we continue to produce some more of this content out there for you guys. And don't forget, please comment down below. Everything we discuss here, comment down below. Share your thoughts, share your opinions. I am open to hear it and read about it. And of course, open for, hey, potential discussion. Who knows? Will and I might even just pull you on here. Send you a little link and pull you on here and have a discussion about it, because I think that's what's really lacking, team. But like Will said, apply your own analytics. Everything you see in here, we're in that day and age where don't believe it all, okay? Don't go for it all. Apply your own analytics, guys. And like we always tell you, hey, too, your problem of today will more likely not be your problem 4 years from now, okay? So don't lose sleep over it, all right? We'll get through it. All right, guys, find comfort in your chaos. I'll see you in the next time, team.